Of course, most humans will die off in the apocalypse, but luck favors the prepared. So, what I want to talk about now are the ways you can prepare for the apocalypse to enhance your chances of survival. First, don't get in the way. A covert collaborative effort between a multinational government shadow organization and the wealthy elite is going to be organized. Get in the way and you'll be run over. They won't have time or resources to play any games, and there won't be anyone to hold them accountable for anything they do. So, stay out of the way and help them out if you can.
Deep within our planet, a silent fury slumbers. It is a force capable of reshaping continents, altering climates, and extinguishing civilizations. This is the awesome power of volcanic eruptions, events that have punctuated Earth's history with episodes of both creation and destruction. While most people perceive volcanoes as isolated mountains, their true potential for global catastrophe remains underappreciated. What if, instead of a single eruption, a chain reaction were to ignite across the planet? Imagine a world shrouded in volcanic ash, sunlight choked out, temperatures plummeting, crops would wither, ecosystems would collapse, and civilization as we know it would face an unprecedented challenge. While this may seem like the stuff of science fiction, the geological record tells a different story. It whispers of times when volcanoes did indeed hold sway over the fate of life on Earth. The threat of a global volcanic crisis is not a matter of if, but when. The Earth's crust is a tapestry of tectonic plates in constant motion, and where these plates collide, volcanoes arise. These geological giants are a stark reminder of the immense forces that shape our planet, forces that we can neither control nor predict with absolute certainty. It is within this context of awe-inspiring power and uncertainty that a select group of scientists, engineers, and government officials are working tirelessly, shrouded in secrecy, to prepare for the unthinkable. Their mission: to ensure the survival of our species in the face of a global volcanic cataclysm. The year was 1815. Mount Tambora, a volcano on the Indonesian island of Sumbawa, erupted with a violence seldom witnessed in human history. The blast, the most powerful in recorded history, ejected billions of tons of ash and sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere, casting a veil over the planet. The following year, 1816, became known as the year without a summer. Global temperatures plummeted, crops failed, and famine gripped vast regions of the world. Tambora serves as a stark reminder of the potential for volcanoes to disrupt global climate patterns and wreak havoc on human societies. But the geological record reveals even more catastrophic events. Roughly 74,000 years ago, the Toba super-eruption on the Indonesian island of Sumatra unleashed a cataclysm that some scientists believe pushed humanity to the brink of extinction. The eruption plunged the planet into a volcanic winter, disrupting ecosystems and decimating populations. Another sobering example is the 1883 eruption of Krakatoa, also in Indonesia. The eruption triggered tsunamis that killed tens of thousands of people and generated atmospheric shockwaves that circled the globe. The ash from Krakatoa's eruption remained suspended in the atmosphere for years, causing spectacular sunsets but also disrupting weather patterns worldwide. These historical events underscore the devastating consequences of major volcanic eruptions, particularly their ability to trigger global climate change. While the likelihood of a super-eruption on the scale of Toba remains statistically low in any given year, the potential consequences are so dire that even a small chance warrants serious consideration. Faced with the possibility of a civilization-ending volcanic event, a consortium of nations has forged a pact in the shadows. This alliance, operating with utmost secrecy, is dedicated to developing contingency plans and technologies to safeguard humanity. Their existence is a closely guarded secret, known only to a select few within the highest echelons of power. The reasons for this secrecy are multifaceted. First and foremost is the need to prevent mass panic. The realization that a global catastrophe could be imminent might lead to widespread social unrest, undermining any efforts to prepare for or mitigate the disaster. Second, secrecy protects the project from sabotage, terrorism, or exploitation by rogue actors seeking to gain control of these vital resources. The clandestine nature of the project raises profound ethical and societal questions. Is it justifiable for a select group to make life or death decisions on behalf of all humanity, shielded from public scrutiny? What are the implications for democracy and accountability when such critical information is kept hidden from the public? Despite these concerns, the project continues, driven by the conviction that the survival of humanity hinges on their ability to prepare for the worst, even in the face of unimaginable challenges and ethical dilemmas. Section 4. Beneath the surface, life in the shadow of Armageddon. Deep beneath the Earth's surface, hidden within the heart of mountains, undersea caverns and fortified bunkers, a network of survival shelters is being constructed. These are not the fallout shelters of the Cold War era, but self-sustaining biospheres designed to house a select population for generations. Life within these subterranean cities would be a radical departure from anything humanity has ever known. Natural light would be replaced by artificial illumination, and the rhythms of day and night would be carefully regulated. Food production would rely on hydroponics and aquaculture, while advanced air filtration systems would scrub the atmosphere of volcanic gases and ash. The psychological impact of living in such confined and artificial environments would be profound. Social cohesion, mental health, and the preservation of culture would pose significant challenges. The selection criteria for those chosen to inhabit these subterranean arks would be rigorous, encompassing not only physical and mental resilience but also skills and expertise essential for rebuilding civilization. These subterranean havens represent a last-ditch effort to preserve the flame of humanity in the face of a global volcanic cataclysm. They are testaments to human ingenuity and our deep-seated will to survive, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds. Section 5. A Silent Guardians, Technology Against Nature's Wrath. While subterranean bunkers offer a last-ditch refuge, the covert project extends far beyond simply waiting out the apocalypse underground. A global network of scientists and engineers is developing cutting-edge technologies to monitor volcanic activity, mitigate their impacts, and potentially even deflect the most devastating eruptions. Advanced early warning systems utilizing a network of seismic sensors, gas detectors, and satellite imagery are being deployed to provide as much lead time as possible in the event of a major eruption. This early warning system is crucial for evacuating populations in harm's way, activating emergency response protocols, and preparing for the global consequences of the eruption. Alongside monitoring, research is being conducted into methods for mitigating the effects of volcanic eruptions. This includes exploring techniques to disperse volcanic ash clouds, neutralize acid rain, and even cool the planet by reflecting sunlight back into space. These geoengineering projects are in their infancy, and the ethical and environmental implications of such interventions are still being debated. The ultimate goal, however, is not just to survive a volcanic apocalypse, but to prevent it altogether. This ambition has led to the exploration of highly speculative technologies, such as deep earth drilling to relieve pressure within magma chambers, or even redirecting the flow of molten rock away from populated areas. These concepts remain firmly in the realm of science fiction, but the sheer scale of the threat has spurred a surge in research and development of previously unimaginable technologies. Section 6. The Ark of Humanity, Choosing Who Survives. Perhaps the most ethically fraught aspect of the covert project is the selection process for those who would be granted access to the subterranean shelters. With limited capacity, agonizing decisions must be made about who will be given a chance at survival and who will be left to face the cataclysm above. While the specific criteria remain a closely guarded secret, it's likely that factors such as genetic diversity, skill sets, and cultural representation would all play a role. The goal would be to assemble a population capable of not only surviving within the confines of the shelters, but also rebuilding civilization once the surface world becomes habitable again. The ethical implications of choosing who lives and who dies are staggering. How do you quantify the value of a human life? Who gets to decide? And what measures are in place to prevent bias, discrimination, or corruption from influencing the selection process? These questions cut to the very core of what it means to be human and the values that underpin our society. The selection process, shrouded in secrecy, represents a moral tightrope walk, balancing the imperative to preserve humanity with the fundamental principles of equality and justice. The weight of these decisions made in the shadows weighs heavily on those tasked with ensuring the continuation of our species. Section 7, the burden of knowledge, ethical dilemmas in the face of extinction. The very existence of this covert project poses a profound ethical dilemma. If knowledge of this impending threat were to become public, would it not be morally imperative to inform the world and allow for a global, unified response? Yet the architects of this plan operate under the conviction that secrecy is essential for the very survival of humanity. The potential for widespread panic, societal breakdown, and the collapse of order are seen as far greater threats than the volcanic crisis itself. In their eyes, knowledge in this instance could be more destructive than ignorance. They argue that a controlled, covert response, however ethically ambiguous, offers the best chance of navigating this existential threat. This stance raises profound questions about the nature of truth, transparency, and the social contract. Is it ever justified to withhold information vital to the well-being of humanity? At what point does the preservation of order come at the expense of individual autonomy and the right to know? These questions have no easy answers and underscore the profound ethical dilemmas inherent in preparing for a global catastrophe. The burden of knowledge, in this case, is a heavy one, fraught with impossible choices and the potential for unforeseen consequences. Those who bear this burden operate in a world of shadows, their actions driven by a deep sense of responsibility, but also haunted by the moral implications of their choices.
Second, don't isolate yourself or your family. The idea of a survival shelter hidden away someplace with everything you need may sound like a good idea, but it really only makes you a target for anyone that wants what you have. Humans are much stronger as a group. As part of a group, the first thing you'll probably learn is how to hunt down the people who have chosen to isolate.
Imagine a world shrouded in perpetual twilight. The air is thick with ash, choking the sun and plunging the planet into a volcanic winter. Crops wither and die. Cities crumble under the weight of volcanic debris. This is not science fiction, but a chilling possibility lurking beneath the Earth's crust, the threat of a volcanic apocalypse. While Hollywood often paints a dramatic picture of sudden, explosive eruptions, the real danger lies in the potential for global volcanic events. These events, though rare, have the power to reshape our planet and threaten our very existence. Volcanoes are a stark reminder of the raw, untamed power that lies beneath our feet, waiting to be unleashed. The question is not if, but when we will face the next major volcanic event, and the answer we choose to that question, to face it together or alone, will determine the fate of humanity.
The past whispers warnings of the devastation volcanoes can unleash. The eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD buried Pompeii and Herculaneum under a torrent of ash and pyroclastic flows, freezing them in time. Centuries later, the 1815 eruption of Mount Tambora in Indonesia plunged the world into a year without a summer, triggering widespread crop failures and famine. These events, though separated by time and geography, carry a unified message. Volcanic eruptions are not merely local disasters, but global events with far-reaching consequences. The Earth's climate and ecosystems are interconnected. A massive eruption in one corner of the world can trigger a cascade of effects that ripple across the globe, impacting weather patterns, agriculture, and even human civilization itself. History serves as a stark reminder that we are not immune to the power of nature. The lessons of the past must guide us as we confront the possibility of future volcanic events. We must learn from the resilience of those who came before us and prepare for a future where volcanic activity could once again reshape our world.
In the hushed corridors of power, a select few are already preparing for the potential of a volcanic apocalypse. Driven by a primal instinct for self-preservation, these elites are discreetly investing in elaborate survival bunkers, capable of withstanding the most extreme environmental conditions. These subterranean havens are designed to be self-sufficient, equipped with advanced filtration systems, hydroponic gardens, and vast stockpiles of resources. They represent the ultimate insurance policy, a way to ride out the storm while the rest of the world weathers the volcanic winter above. But their exclusivity raises profound ethical questions. The existence of these bunkers exposes a stark divide in our society. While some are preparing to weather the storm in relative comfort and security, the majority of the world's population remains unaware of the potential threat, let alone prepared for it. This disparity underscores the need for transparency and collective action. The future of humanity cannot be secured in isolated bunkers, but only through a shared commitment to survival. Section 4. The illusion of isolation. Why going it alone won't work. Faced with the daunting prospect of a volcanic apocalypse, it's tempting to succumb to the allure of self-reliance. The idea of retreating to a remote cabin in the woods armed with survival skills and a stockpile of supplies can seem like a viable escape route. However, this romanticized vision of solitary survival is ultimately an illusion, a dangerous misconception that could prove fatal in the face of a global volcanic event. The reality is that no single individual possesses all the skills and resources needed to survive a prolonged period of environmental devastation. The challenges posed by a volcanic apocalypse, food scarcity, toxic air, the collapse of infrastructure, demand a level of cooperation and specialization that isolation simply cannot provide. Survival in the aftermath of a global volcanic event will require a diverse range of skills: engineering, agriculture, medicine, and more. No one person can master them all. Self-isolation, therefore, is not a path to survival but a dead end, a recipe for vulnerability and eventual demise.
Section 5. A world divided. The ethical dilemma of exclusive survival. The covert construction of exclusive survival bunkers by the elite raises profound ethical questions about our shared humanity. In the face of a global catastrophe, should self-preservation trump our responsibility to one another? Can we truly justify a future where a select few are granted sanctuary, while the rest are left to face an uncertain fate? The very notion of exclusive survival runs counter to the principles of empathy, compassion, and social responsibility that bind us as a species. It creates a dangerous precedent, normalizing the idea that some lives are inherently more valuable than others. In a world grappling with the potential consequences of a volcanic apocalypse, such divisions would be not only immoral, but ultimately self-defeating. The challenges posed by a volcanic apocalypse are too great, too complex, to be overcome by isolated pockets of survivors. Our strength lies in our diversity, our capacity for innovation, and our ability to work together for a common goal. A future built on exclusion will inevitably crumble, while a future built on unity and shared responsibility offers the greatest hope for survival.
Third, become part of a network. As part of a network, you can enjoy the benefits of shared knowledge, diverse skill sets, and have access to people with specialized roles. Security, communications, food collection, and medical care will be more available to you and your family if you become part of a network.
Volcanoes are a powerful force of nature. We see them erupt, spewing lava and ash. But their true power lies in their potential for global devastation. A supervolcanic eruption could blanket the Earth in ash, blocking the sun and plunging our planet into darkness. This volcanic winter could last for decades. Crops would fail, leading to widespread famine. Temperatures would plummet, disrupting ecosystems and threatening the survival of countless species. Our modern civilization, reliant on a delicate balance of climate and resources, would face an unprecedented challenge. We have seen glimpses of this potential in smaller eruptions throughout history. The 1815 eruption of Mount Tambora, for example, caused a year without a summer, resulting in widespread crop failures and hardship. A super eruption would be far more catastrophic. Preparing for such an event may seem daunting, but it is essential for our survival. By working together, we can develop the technology and strategies needed to weather the storm and ensure the continuation of humanity. Our survival strategy must be multifaceted and robust, encompassing both terrestrial and extraterrestrial solutions. Underground bunkers will provide immediate shelter from the initial eruption and the subsequent volcanic winter. These bunkers must be self-sufficient. with sustainable food sources, water filtration systems, and energy generation capabilities. However, bunkers alone are not a long-term solution. We need to address the root cause of the problem, the volcanic ash blocking the sun. Space-based defense systems, such as large mirrors or sunshades, could be strategically positioned to reflect sunlight back to Earth, mitigating the effects of the volcanic winter. Robotic workers will be crucial in this endeavor. They can operate in hazardous environments, both on Earth and in space, assisting with the construction and maintenance of our survival infrastructure. Robots can also automate essential tasks within the bunkers, freeing up humans to focus on research, innovation, and community building. Finally, and most importantly, the success of this endeavor hinges on the selection of the individuals entrusted with safeguarding humanity's future. We need diverse minds, scientists, engineers, doctors, artists, and more, to ensure a vibrant and resilient society capable of rebuilding. The challenges posed by a supervolcanic eruption are too great for any one nation to overcome alone. A global collaborative effort is essential for pooling resources, sharing knowledge, and coordinating our response. By working together, we can achieve far more than we ever could in isolation. Collaboration allows us to maximize our collective intelligence. Scientists from around the world can share their expertise, accelerating the development of new technologies and solutions. Engineers can collaborate on the design and construction of resilient infrastructure. Medical professionals can share knowledge and resources to ensure the health and well-being of the surviving population. Resource management is another crucial benefit of collaboration. By pooling our resources, we can ensure that essential supplies such as food, water, and medicine are distributed equitably and efficiently. We can also share the burden of developing and maintaining our survival infrastructure, making the task more manageable. As we confront the possibility of a mass extinction event, we must address the ethical considerations inherent in selecting who gets to survive. The selection process must be fair and transparent, based on objective criteria that prioritize skills, knowledge, and the potential to contribute to the rebuilding of society. Transparency is paramount. The criteria used in the selection process must be clearly communicated to the public, and the selection process itself must be open to scrutiny. This will help to ensure fairness and maintain public trust even in the face of difficult decisions. Furthermore, we must establish a shared set of values that will guide our actions and decisions in the aftermath of a super eruption. These values should emphasize cooperation, empathy, and a commitment to the well-being of all survivors. By fostering a strong sense of community and shared purpose, we can increase our chances of not just surviving, but thriving in the face of adversity.
Those are my top 3 suggestions on preparing for the upcoming volcanic apocalypse. They won't guarantee your survival, but in an apocalypse, any advantage is helpful.